Good morning, everybody in the PTL Nation. Leonard Cardinelli here, filling in with Brian Shapiro in studio, coming to you live from Las Vegas. And it looks like Brian is a little quiet today. I don't know why, but let's try and figure that out. Brian, what's going on?
Oh, I wanted to give you a quick little tryout run because you're going to be filling in for tomorrow.
I failed.
I already have one mistake. You ready? It's not morning.
Well,
you say good morning.
In
it's not morning.
Some parts of the world it is. Some parts it's the afternoon. And our friend Paul in the UK, it's actually evening.
That's why I don't say good morning or good afternoon. I just say, hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
It's much less. There you go. Much less confusing. Anyway, Leonard is going to be filling in for you tomorrow. So I said, Leonard, why don't you open up the show today? I thought he did a B minus. Give it a B minus. Where's that audio coming from? Is that your phone, Leonard? I hear something. All right, it's a C plus now. Now all of a sudden it's a C plus. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
C plus.
I'm just kidding, Leonard. I want to get to like a B plus tomorrow. But yes, Leonard is filling in for me tomorrow, and which I appreciate very, very much. Tomorrow was supposed to be a day off for me. Now it still is, and I'm playing in a charity golf tournament. But I just got a text message that apparently I'm supposed to be doing the Piers Morgan show tomorrow.
Which is flow from the progressive.
Not really a day off.
What's a vacation?
A day off for me means I don't have to talk about politics. But,
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, I'm looking forward to doing that. I always enjoy doing the Piers Morgan show. Welcome, everybody, on the YouTube Super Chat YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. Of course, pushingthelimits.live, the FMAM dial KSHP, and another big show lined up for you today. Leonard, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Every single time he agrees to come on, I'm like shocked because everybody knows I'm extremely anti-Donald Trump. But it is a pleasure and an honor that at the bottom of the hour, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump,
can you imagine,
is going to be joining us on the program.
Coming on the show, answering questions,
it's very
making
cordial.
Comments, giving his opinion.
He's very cordial.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he's very cordial, and I appreciate him taking the time.
Nobel Peace Prize, though, I'm going to give you the heads up on that. It's the Band-Aid, already been ripped off. It's
by the
sensitive.
way, people are asking me, by the way, Leonard, who's going to be on the panel with me on Piers tomorrow. I have no idea. They usually don't tell me until early in the morning. Yeah, could be anybody from Jack Posobiec to Roger Stone to Clay Travis. I have no idea. So they'll let me know in the morning. Usually big names, though. I will say that. I give them credit. They usually get some pretty big names. All right, let's get right into it, Leonard. So let's start with something a little bit more lighthearted before we get into the...
That would be great.
So, as I've mentioned before on the show, Donald Trump's two sons, I usually call them Uday and Qusay, and one of them have a book out. Yes, that's right. The crybaby himself, Eric Trump, is on a book tour, okay? So he's making the rounds, which means he's doing a lot of interviews and making himself look like the clown that he is. So it appears as though they're trying to make the Rose Garden and the White House look like Mar-a-Lago. So Eric Trump was doing an interview on Fox News earlier today, and I want you to listen to this moment where they're bragging about the umbrellas at the Rose Garden, and they're literally making it look like Mar-a-Lago. Have a listen to this.
And speaking of terrific, what a fantastic view across the street. That is the Beach Club. And in fact, those are the umbrellas from the Rose Garden, I believe.
Exact same umbrellas at the Rose Garden. And by the way, that beautiful flagpole right there?
Yeah.
The exact same flagpole that we have at the White House. I got a call from my father. He goes, honey, I need two great flagpoles. I want to donate them to the White House. And we're very happy to have the same Mar-a-Lago flagpole on the south and north grounds now.
Flagpoles?
Yeah, so that's what we want. We want the White House to look like Mar-a-Lago.
With big flagpoles.
Yeah, that's what we want. That Eric Trump is actually bragging about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's so pathetic.
I wish I could do the Stephen Colbert impression, where he folds his upper lip under and he does Eric. Have you ever seen him do that?
I have, actually.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. What an absolute fool. By the way, Eric Trump on Fox News yesterday claimed that he was saving God. That's right. The Trumps are apparently saving Christianity. That's right. Donald Trump, his father, the guy who holds up a Bible upside down, selling them, made in China for $3, selling them for $60 in America, who can't recite one verse in the Bible. Eric Trump is claiming his family and his daddy are saving God. That's right. God.
My dad's saving God.
Because when I think about God, I think about if there's anybody in the world that can save God, it would be a 34-count felon adjudicated abuser. Have a listen to this.
Destroy us. And yet here we are, and we have this amazing peace deal on Charlie Kirk's birthday. I can't tell you how many things are lining up. I mean, think about the fact that this book came out on Charlie Kirk's birthday on the same day as we have peace in the Middle East, I mean, so many different factors are all coming together at once in the most unthinkable, unbelievable journey. You couldn't have scripted this. You could not. The wildest author could not have scripted this book and the trials and tribulations and twists and turns to get to where we are today. And look how much better humanity and our world is. We're saving Christianity. We're saving God. We're saving the family unit. We're saving this nation. I mean, DEI is out the window, Benny. I mean, you no longer have Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national, for the national anthem. You no longer have, a Budweiser going woke as hell. Or all of this is dead. And yet, what do we have? We have a return to people going to church. We have a return to people, valuing their children and valuing society and believing in the white picket fence and what the American dream represents and what the American dream stands for, and American exceptionalism and peace around the world, and that people can coexist with one another without having to, pick up arms and destroy each other for no reason whatsoever, other than incompetent and egotistical governments. It's a beautiful time, and he will go to heaven for all of that. God absolutely guided this journey in ways that you'll learn and understand. I mean, it's a big part of the story, but he was there the entire time.
Yeah, so Americans don't really care too much about losing their health care coverage or losing their jobs or losing their livelihood. They care that a Colin Kaepernick might be taking a knee. That's what they really care about. Thank God during the national anthem.
And Brian, what does he mean not scripted? Project 2025 was completely scripted, and they're following it almost by the letter. And when he says he's helping Christianity, he possibly is, because there is so much bad in the world that the good people are actually having to rise up a little bit. So I kind of agree.
Don't worry about the fact that we have one of the worst jobs reports we've had in decades, and we're headed towards a recession. Don't worry about the fact that your health care is going to be taken away and your food stamps are going to be taken away. Thank God for that woke Budweiser commercial not coming back. Thank God that you don't have black NFL football players that aren't taking a knee. Listen to this Nimrod. And by the way, it doesn't even get any worse than this. Here's Eric Trump making the case that his daddy is going to heaven. Yeah, that's right. He's now because Daddy said
even Daddy said he's
Daddy
not going
said
to
on
heaven.
Air Force One that he's not he's not going to heaven. It's one of the few things that I agree with Donald Trump on. And now Eric is claiming, oh no, Daddy is heaven bound. Have a listen to this.
President Trump saying he's not sure he's heaven bound.
Well, then it's hard to believe that, I finally think the siege was worth it, if that makes sense, right? Everything they did to us was worth it yesterday when I saw what he did. And make no mistake, he is heaven bound. He's probably too humble in a certain way to say that. I can say that as a son, because I've seen the hand of God on him for a very long time, guiding him through the most unthinkable, dark process. And then we get to a day like yesterday, which is, was so beautiful. But he is heaven bound. And I can tell you, maybe the one thing he does that might have, influenced heaven is, I think there's a lot less people going to heaven, meaning they're going to heaven slower because he stopped the death and destruction around the world. I've personally witnessed him stop wars.
Yeah, so when I think of the word humble, the first person I think about is Donald J. Trump. I mean, this is it's almost like a Saturday Night Live skit. Yeah, Trump is a very humble guy, very humble. Give me the Nobel Peace Prize. I deserve this. I deserve credit for ending 25 wars. I'm the best. I'm the smartest. I mean,
the only thing that he did good in the Middle East, and we don't know if it was Donald Trump, is 20 hostages were released. And it was very emotional, and I watched it, and they were returned to their families, and it was a great thing. But if, later on in the show, maybe, I don't know if we're going to get to it, but there are so many things that are unsettled and not going correctly. They let 7,000 Hamas fighters back into the Gaza Strip.
Yeah,
and
we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I'll just stop there. But there's so many things. And to try to say that he doesn't talk with hubris most of the time is just a complete departure from reality.
And here's something that drives me nuts. There's a lot of things that the far right are doing that drive me nuts, but every single time something bad happens to somebody, whether it be a Charlie Kirk, who I don't care about, or whether it be anything that happens, they always use the term they instead of the person that was responsible. For example, like when the first assassination attempt of Donald Trump, which was, by the way, by executed or attempted to be executed by a 22-year-old Republican, they said they, trying to paint the picture that the entire left wanted Donald Trump assassinated, which obviously is not true. And now, Eric Trump, again, using the term they and making himself the victim, trying to compare himself to Charlie Kirk, saying they want Eric Trump off the stage. They. Have a listen to this.
He gets in the car. I'm in the car right next to him. We're going up the FDR Drive in New York, and he looks at me. He goes, honey, I'm not sure how, but somehow we're going to win this whole thing. And he meant the trial, but he also meant the presidency. And I said to him, I go, Dad, it's either going to be 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, it's either going to be the White House, or you and I are both in a prison cell for doing absolutely nothing wrong. But they wanted us gone. They wanted our voices gone. They wanted us off that stage. No different than they wanted Charlie Kirk off that stage. They wanted me off that stage. They wanted my father off that stage. They wanted our family off that stage. They wanted us bankrupt. They wanted us voiceless. That's why they gagged us. That's why they took us off of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Greta, they wanted us gone, and they used the full power of the United States government to do it. They used the full power of the mainstream media to do it.
So first of all, my question to Eric would be, who's they? There's no evidence that Joe Biden or anybody in Joe Biden's administration tried to do anything to you. That there's no evidence of that. Who's they? Which Democrats are you referring to? Now, I'll be the first one to admit I'm not even a Democrat, but there's nothing more I'd love to see than Eric Trump gagged and deported to Gaza. I mean,
Have
I'll
you
be
ever
honest.
said anything like
that's
that,
exactly
Brian?
that's exactly what I would want for Eric Trump.
Have you ever said, well, either I'm going to get my own radio show and podcast, or I'm going to jail? One or the other. It could be, it's a close call. I've never said that about anything in my entire life.
Let's be very clear on most of MAGA and the Trump family. They are a bunch of bitches. That's what they are. Let's be very clear on that. Okay, they want to do this to us. They want to do this. They did this. They did that.
They wanted me off the stage.
I mean, it's so. Listen, first of all, I wouldn't go near any stage where Eric Trump is speaking because he's a complete imbecile. Okay, that's number one. I don't care what stage Eric Trump is on, as long as it's not a stage that I'm anywhere near or watching. Okay, I mean, look what they're doing to Bad Bunny or whatever his name is.
Yeah, they're trying to create contempt for the person.
I mean,
So
it's a
everybody who
joke.
wants Bad Bunny off the stage is they, because they don't want him on the stage, right? Isn't it they who are going to have a competing halftime show? Isn't they who want to silence him? Is it just me?
Eric Trump is very similar to his father in a lot of different ways, and then I'll end it at this, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about this complete imbecile clown. Eric Trump has never accomplished anything in his life other than stealing money from his father's charity. Eric Trump has never done anything in his life except play the victim. He's a complete fool. He's never done anything for society, only out for himself and his family, just like his daddy. Okay, Eric Trump is the biggest crybaby on the planet. And let me tell you something. If I had his book in my hands right now and I needed to go to the bathroom, I would use it as toilet paper. That's what I think about Eric Trump. That's what I think about his stupid book, and that's what I think about most of his family
He's just
members.
grifting on a higher level, Brian. That's all he's doing. This is major grifting. They're against me. You have to buy my book. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah. I'll take his book and I'll use it as toilet paper, even if I do get hemorrhoids. Anyway, moving on now. So we know that Donald Trump sexualizes women constantly. He's done it his entire life, way before he got into politics, right? Bragging about grabbing women by the genitals, cheating on every single woman he's ever had. And we also know that for the most part, Donald Trump puts women in certain positions of power because he likes looking at them. Well, here's another example of that. It wasn't Caroline Leavitt, the liar Leavitt, who he was praising, for her intelligence. He was talking about her lips. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Caroline Leavitt's lips are the first thing that came to Donald Trump's mind when he was asked about her. Have a listen to this.
And I've never failed in working it out like immediately. Is that right? How's Caroline doing? Is she doing good? Should Caroline be replaced?
No. That's up to you, sir.
It'll never happen.
Nobody wants to. I said she does a great job. Do you want to elaborate on the
Those
country?
and those lips, they move like a machine gun, right?
Those lips. Yeah, I would never replace Caroline. Why, Mr. President? Oh, because of those lips.
Aren't they always sharing glances when she's sitting on the couch or behind the couch? And didn't they have a video online where they were sharing glances and kind of she did something with her ear? Do you remember that or no?
I think I do. It's just so gross and so disgusting.
It was kind of weird. It was kind of creepy.
Can you imagine if Joe Biden was asked about a female member of his administration and will she be replaced? And the first thing that Joe Biden brought up is the woman's lips.
Oh, those lips. Yeah, forget about it.
They
would have been
a physical attribute,
in a tizzy.
which is pretty amazing. Now, this is something that I've talked about a lot on the show recently in regards to these no kings protests that are going to be happening across the country, right? A lot of people, millions of people across the country, I will be one of them, that'll be peacefully protesting because we do love this country and we hate what the Donald Trump administration is doing and where this country is headed. But here's Emmer once again going on a national network claiming that we're all going to these rallies because we, quote, hate America. Have a listen to this.
So you agree that that's what this is about, that they want to be there and sort of, you know, punch their chest there, that they're fighting Trump in this No Kings rally. That's what this is about.
Yeah, we call it the Hate America rally because you'll see the hate for America all over this thing when they show up. Yeah, I mean, that's the rumor, Maria. The rumor is that they can't end this shutdown beforehand because this small but very violent and vocal group is the only one that's happy about this.
I see.
If they shut it down beforehand, then they've got to deal with that group beforehand. If they make it through that, then at least they've made it through their Hate America rally, and then they can get this thing done.
So let me be very clear. Let me be very clear here. There are millions of people that are going to be peacefully protesting across the country. A good portion of these people are those who served in our military or are serving right now. Police officers, firefighters, heroes, people that have risked it all. Ron Filipkowski is a friend of mine from Midas Touch. He's one of those people that have served this country honorably, and he loves this country, and that's why he's going to these rallies. These are heroes. But yet, Emmer and others are claiming that it is a Hate America rally where it couldn't be further from the truth. Many heroes, like I said, first responders, are going to be protesting because they love this country and they hate the direction that the country is headed to. So for Emmer, and here's somebody else, Leonard, Steve Scalise,
don't get me started.
who is I want you to listen to this audio clip because this is Steve Scalise, again, using the No Kings rally as a Hate America rally. Listen to this.
Where the contrast of Chuck Schumer throwing a temper tantrum here at home just to appease the most radical elements of his base, so that on the 18th, when they have the Hate America rally that everybody knows is coming, and that everybody knows Chuck Schumer needs to deliver a shutdown government to them to appease them. Well, how about you think about us? How about you think about those families who are struggling today because of Chuck Schumer's shutdown? There are real consequences to what Chuck Schumer is doing. Regardless of who he thinks he's appeasing, he is hurting so many people, millions and millions of people.
So let me get this right, Steve Scalise. The big and beautiful bill, which 20 million Americans will be losing their health care coverage, which you seem to have no problem with.
You voted for.
And billions of dollars taken away from those that are on food stamps. And Steve Scalise, the buffoon that he is, has the audacity to say that Chuck Schumer, what he's doing has real consequences when you have Republicans that are still out on vacation, and Steve Scalise has the audacity to say that it's Chuck Schumer.
And he calls it they and them. So that, I mean, could they be more divisive? All of them. You know, we're doing this and we're worried about us and them. What are they and them doing? And it's not a Hate America tour. Don't be fooled. It is a No Kings Day where Americans are coming together and saying, we don't want a king. We don't want a ruler that's a dictator. We want democracy. We want the people to count. And you know who else is going to be there, Brian?
Who's that?
Bunch of frogs. And bunnies,
yeah,
in inflatable costumes.
Yeah, I saw Duffy.
Portland's on fire. You know,
I saw Duffy talking about that today, and I was going to play the clip. It's so absurd. Of Duffy saying that they found a storage facility of Antifa allegedly, and I said, "What did they find in there? A bunch of stuffed animals and costumes? Ooh, very dangerous." It wouldn't really be a radio show or a political show if I didn't even at least play you one cut from Mike Johnson today. So. The good, wholesome Christian Mike Johnson lying about Medicaid.
I call him Pouty Mike Johnson.
Yeah, he's lying about Medicaid today. And when talking about the fact that in the big and beautiful bill, as they call it, it is obvious, and it is right there on paper, and you can see it for yourself, that at least 15 to 20 million Americans are going to lose their health care coverage. Mike Johnson is again lying to the American people and saying this.
But also remove a very reasonable and modest work requirement that we put on able-bodied young men with no dependents. As we've said, they should not be riding the wagon and taking Medicaid. That is intended for vulnerable populations, the elderly, disabled, and young pregnant women, for example, and not young able-bodied men without dependents who are playing video games. We put that into the law because it's common sense.
Really, you did? Well, let's go over those statistics, Mikey, and let's see if you're telling the truth. So you're claiming that the people that are going to lose their health care coverage are men without dependents who are playing video games. Interesting. 30% of people in this country that are working are not even offered health care. They rely on Medicaid. 49% of people who are working, who are offered medical coverage, can't afford it.
Right?
So those people that are on the couch playing video games, why won't members of the media give those statistics to him? Why won't they press him on that? He's lying to the American people. Millions and millions of Americans that are working are going to lose their health care coverage. And they do the same thing with welfare. They did the same thing with unemployment benefits. These bad, awful Republicans that do not want to help American people that are struggling. Remember, they did the same thing with welfare when that started years ago. They've done the same thing with unemployment benefits. Not only do they not want to pay people unemployment that lose their jobs, they're claiming they're all lazy. When we all know that unemployment benefits are there to help somebody so that they can at least pay their bills until they find another job. And in essence, when they do find another job, the government gets paid. But Mike Johnson wants to make the case, once again, it's a lie from the MAGA Republicans. Clearly it's a lie.
I'm sure they caught one person sitting home, but between the ages of 22 and 38, which is your younger population, 70 to 75% of those able-bodied people are suffering from mental illness and emotional illness. So what he's doing is he's taking a program that benefits people who can't otherwise take care of themselves, and he's making it seem like they're sitting, oh, those people are just sitting on the couch playing video games. Did they catch one or two over the years? Yeah, probably. But the greater percentage, 70+%, are they're able-bodied.
Yeah.
But so what he's doing is he's cherry-picking facts and he's conflating two different ideas to make it sound bad.
And if there's anything Mike Johnson is doing, he's sitting on a couch with his son, monitoring and watching the porn that his son is watching. That's probably what Mike Johnson is doing.
I can't remember the name of that program they were on.
That's his idea of video games, only maybe he's using his son's joystick. I don't know. But anyway, moving on now. Mark Wayne Mullen, I had to play this clip because, you know, I'm Jewish, and Mark Wayne Mullen is trying to make the case that all these Jewish people are giving him hugs, and he can't understand why Jewish people would vote Democrat. Well, listen to this cut from Mark Wayne Mullen. It's absolutely and positively despicable.
I even met with some Jewish leaders in Oklahoma City, and it was amazing because I walked in, they had opened their arms big, and they just wanted to hug and say thank you. Thank you. And even one of them even said, I don't understand why so many Jewish communities vote Democrat when we have a leader in President Trump, and he's leading not because he's just Republican, because of the Republican values that President Trump has installed in the country. And I just thought, wow, that's a huge word that he just said there.
Yeah, and spreading around the world, I think.
Yeah, spreading around the world because one Jewish guy came up to you and allegedly said that. Well, let me just...
And that's the whole world, one person.
Yeah, let me just speak to Mark Wayne Mullen really quickly as someone who is Jewish. The reason why people like me don't vote for Donald Trump and imbeciles like you have zero to do with my religion. It has to do with the fact that you guys don't care about the American people. You don't care about people that are living paycheck to paycheck. You want to take their health coverage away. You want to take their food stamps away. You want to take their livelihood away. You want to take their First Amendment rights away because apparently we're terrorists if we peacefully protest against this administration. That means we must hate the country. We want to give groups of foreign entities like Qatar military bases in the United States when it was just a few years ago all you guys were saying that they fund terrorists. You want to bring in the military to attack our own U.S. citizens in cities when law enforcement there are telling you to stop. That's why people like me vote against idiots like you and the Trump administration. And no, the last thing I would do was give you a hug. You imbecile, you 4-foot-tall fool, you. Drives me nuts, these idiots like Mark Wayne Mullen who want to tell me how to vote.
Mullins used to be somewhat reasonable years ago, but he's always been kind of overly conservative. But in the last, I think he's just putting on a show for Trump in the last year or so because he has really gone off of reality. I mean, when you look at him and he's looking in the camera and he's saying stuff that is so ridiculous about what a great job they're doing and how everything is the radical left. The radical left, do you know that radical left is less than 1% of the Democrats? Did you know that?
Oh,
So they're pounding on less than 1% of the actual people.
And I would also add that I've heard this. I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently if Stephen Miller was standing on Mark Wayne Mullen's head, they wouldn't even be 6 feet tall. I don't know if that's true or not. So as I've been talking about, Leonard, and by the way, we have Donald Trump that's going to be joining us next. I can't wait for that. What an interview. We've been talking a lot about healthcare again. We talk about healthcare a lot on this show.
That's the issue right now.
And Medicare annual enrollment is October 15th to December 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but tomorrow is October 15th, right?
Let's go.
So seniors are getting bombarded with mailers and stuff, right? So I am so happy to be joining up with my trusted partner, Chapter. They give free and unbiased Medicare help. I'm so glad to be joined. Please, I want to help my listeners. You see the number there on the bottom of your screen, which is 212-461-4078. And you can go to the URL there as well. If you don't want to call, you can go to askchapter.org/limits. And it's totally free. On average, Chapter saves people around $1,100 a year, okay? These aren't made-up statistics. I want them to help you. They review every plan nationwide to make sure you're on the best one, and they're the only people that really do this. So please give Chapter a call. The number there is on the bottom of your screen. The URL is there on the bottom of your screen. I promise you'll be pleased. Give them a call now at 212-461-4078. All right, folks, I cannot believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm announcing this right now after all the smack that I've been talking about Donald Trump, Leonard. You and I both.
How does he even have time to do your show? That's so outstanding.
It really is. The 45th and 47th President of the United States is going to be joining us next, Donald J. Trump. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with the President. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, I will be doing the Un-F America tour in Las Vegas at UNLV, debating college students. It'll be October 22nd. That's a Wednesday at 11 a.m. We'll be giving you guys more information as we get a little bit closer to that. And, of course, we'll be taking your phone calls here in a little bit. But, you know, we get all sorts of different guests on this show. But I got to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it is always a pleasure when the 45th and 47th President of the United States decides to take time out of his very busy day of playing golf to join us on the program. Donald J. Trump, it is an honor to have you back on the program with us, Mr. President. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Well, I'm a little upset, Brian.
Why is that?
Can you believe this? Have you seen the cover of Time magazine?
Oh, yeah.
They made me look absolutely horrible.
I thought you looked great.
It looks like I've got a turkey neck, and it looks like I don't have any hair. Time magazine hates me. They hate me. They're just a left-wing radical rag. Can you believe it?
Well, I saw some people on social media that are not fans of yours calling you vagina neck. Does that mean you grab your neck a lot?
Well, you know what? I think it's gravity. And I was just at Walter Reed for the second time. And, in fact, the doctor said I probably had one of the nicest necks of any person my age. And they've even said that. That's even in the report that they posted. They said I'm in incredible health, and I had a very good neck for someone who's outside a lot, who plays golf. And unfortunately, I'm subjected to gravity, which is horrible. It's a horrible. We're looking into getting rid of gravity for people like me. It's terrible.
I understand that. So, Mr. President, let's talk a little bit about Israel. I mean, you keep saying that the war is over, yet Benjamin Netanyahu is why do you keep, Mr. President, why do you keep saying the war is over?
The war's over. Who's left? We've turned Hamas into hummus. These people can't do anything. Nobody's left. We did the prisoner exchange. Everything is incredible. We're paving the whole country. We're putting up some incredible. It's going to be like Rodeo Drive, but the entire place. It's going to be South Beach. It's going to be Miami Beach. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And no Palestinians. And that's probably the best part.
Well, Mr. President, I have to ask you this, though, because, you keep saying, what were you? You said something very strange about Caroline Leavitt. I wanted to ask you about this. You were asked on Air Force One the other day whether Caroline should be replaced, and then you commented about her lips, which I thought was very strange. Why do you always comment on the physical appearance of people that work for you?
Because women should be judged by their looks, and that's what I do with the Italian PM yesterday. What's your face? I can't remember her name.
I know who you're talking about. Yes, I do.
Yeah, she was standing directly behind me. Did you see her checking me out? I didn't think
she was.
I saw the video.
I didn't think she
was looking at me.
Was she okay?
All women.
I must have missed that. I must have.
Let's be honest. I'm the most powerful man in the world, and women want to be commented on. That's why they get all dressed up. Otherwise, they'd all be wearing burlap sacks and not getting the shots and the fat in their tongues and their lips.
I wanted to, Mr. President, if you're just joining us, the 45th and the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, your son, Eric Trump, has a new book out now, and he's claiming in some interviews.
Is it a coloring book?
That's what I thought it was, but I guess it's a serious book. He's claiming that you should.
Serious. I'm just kidding. People give Eric a hard time. He's an incredibly adequate son.
Incredibly adequate.
Well, Mr. President, you made the statement the other day that you don't believe you're going to ever go to heaven. Eric is defending you, saying that you will. Can you just clear this up for everybody? Mr. President, are you going to be going to heaven?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and as you heard my quote, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm the right candidate for heaven. It might not be the place for me. It might not be the place for me, and I'm not going to know anybody when I get there. So that's a big thing.
What is this? We have a shutdown, and you're blaming Chuck Schumer, and you're claiming that it's a Democrat.
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah. What is it about that? You're blaming the Democrats for this shutdown, Mr. President, but who's really responsible? Come on.
Oh, well, they are because they want health care for 15 million people, and I have made a promise, Brian. I have made a promise to billionaires and high-end millionaires to lower their taxes, and these people, they want free everything. They would free. Oh, I need a free colonoscopy. I need a free MRI. I need a free EKG. Let me tell you something. Become the president, you get all that for free. Not until then, I'm not giving that stuff away. These people have to learn this is the real world. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. This is that. These people want, they want to have, what do they call that? Universal health care like they have in Israel and Argentina. But you don't live there. You live here, and you got to pay. You got to pay your own way. You got to pay your own way.
All right. Well, Mr. President, you keep bashing these No Kings rallies. I guess there's some big ones coming up on the 18th. Why won't you support people's First Amendment right to peacefully protest against you? Why do you keep attacking these people, and yet you send the military out to Portland and Chicago, and you see these people in frog outfits and in chicken outfits as if there's some sort of threat? Why
that guy in the chicken outfit? I talked to Castatel. That guy's number one on our list. The frogs are number two. We are going to get all of these amphibious animals, those balloon things. We're going to find out who's in those things. There's a fan. Did you know those things have a fan? It's not the chicken. The chicken was obviously bought at some shitty store. But the ones have a fan. They've got a fan inside. And that's not fair because we can't see who's inside the frog. We can't see who's inside the shark. We can't see who's in the Tyrannosaurus Rex. We can't see them. That's good. That's not good. These people are on our top wanted list for the FBI.
Well, I wish you luck with those frogs. All right, I have to bring up something sensitive, Mr. President. Your friend Charlie Kirk. I guess this is his birthday today. You're giving him the Medal of Freedom Award. There's a lot of people on the left that are very unhappy with that, Mr. President. What do you have to say to that?
Well, didn't I give that to what's his face, Rush Limbaugh?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Everyone got pissed off about that too. What is it? Listen, I gave the Medal of Freedom. Listen, you're in Las Vegas. I gave the Medal of Freedom to what's his name's wife, who owns the Palazzo.
When? Yeah. Oh no, you're talking about
Goodman?
No, who owns the Venetian?
Edelman.
Oh, yeah. Sheldon Adelson.
Adelson. Yeah. What did she do? She gave me money. Look, this is for me to give out. I don't know if everybody gets upset. I'm not going to give it to a radical left-wing Democrat. I mean, George Clooney's not getting one. But I will give this out. I will give this out to people that I feel that should have one because it's kind of a collector's item. There aren't that many.
Mr. President, why do you bring up like some great actors, like George Clooney, Robert De Niro, Bruce Springsteen?
Yeah.
Great. Why is it that? Yeah. Why do you call them talentless, horrible people? And then you got this halftime show, this Turning Point halftime show with what I would consider horrible people, Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood. I know you teamed up with him to sell your Bibles, Jason Aldean.
Lee Greenwood is a great guy. He's a great guy. He's got probably the single biggest hit in the history of this country. Proud to be an American. And in that state, and Kid Rock, look at him. Look at that. He stole that song from Leonard Skinner, and he made it a hit because before that it was just crap. It was just a crappy song.
All right. Well, fair enough. Listen, is there anything else you'd want to tell us, Mr. President, that we haven't already covered today? I don't know when the next time.
I would like to talk to just quickly. People are saying the prices are going back up on food. That's a lie. That's a lie. All the food in that we're getting at the White House is delicious, and it's the same price as far as I know.
Mr. President, I think we have a big announcement to make on this show right now, and I wanted to wait until you were here to do it. Maybe you can tell the listening on. This is unbelievable. The President, Donald J. Trump, has a big announcement to make about an appearance here live in studio, and he's going to take some phone calls.
I'm going to be in Las Vegas, and if I can squeeze it in between fundraising events, I'm going to be at your studio on the 28th around 12:30. We're going to have a lot of security because I know you got a lot of left-wing, radical, liberal people who listen to your show. They hate me. They hate me, but I've made the country great again. You know what I mean? And by the way, not only have I made the country great again in the first administration, I have made the country great again. So we're doing MAGA Gaga. MAGA Gaga. I'll bring some MAGA Gaga hats.
Fair enough.
The GA goes all the way around the hat.
And Mr. President, you'll be taking phone calls, right? You'll be
taking phone calls. I'll be accepting DMs on your phone of naked women. They're my favorite ones.
I wonder if he's going to go to the club while he's here.
Yeah. What are you doing in Vegas, Mr. President? Before I let you go,
I'm here to raise some money. I'm going to be at the Venetian, and we're going to get some money because God knows I need it because we've got to run against myself at this point.
All right. Well, listen, Mr. President, I'm okay. We have one question on the YouTube.
Oh, good. I have questions.
Okay.
I'm so good at questions.
One very serious question, and then I'm going to let you go. Is it true that you only lasted 12 seconds with Stormy Daniels?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we want to know.
I think. Listen. I would just like to say this. Anyone, you got to remember, she was with Mandingo, so anybody is not who's not a professional performer in the adult industry would not last that long. You know what I'm saying?
13 seconds. That's not a very long time. But all right. If you say so, Mr.
Well, that's pretty good for me. I'd like to say.
All right. Well, fair enough. We'll talk to Melania about that. Mr. President, I cannot wait to meet you in person on the 28th in studio. We're going to be taking some phone calls. If you can please put your very good friend on the phone, John DiDomenico, we would really appreciate that.
Okay. Here he is. Hey, Brian.
Hey, John.
That was hilarious.
John, you're the best. I love you, man. You're going to be coming in studio in full makeup and attire, which, by the way, it's an honor because you're so talented and you are the world's best Trump impersonator. You're just so good. You have agreed to come in studio and take calls. I cannot begin to tell you how much my listeners are looking forward to that. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited about this. So many incredibly well-known people have sat across from you. I don't know any of them, but I think it's going to be great that I'll be there. Some big names.
Great.
We've had a few. John,
I've seen you got some great guests.
You're one of the best. John, give out your information, social media. There's a reason why you have so many followers. You're so brilliant and good at what you do.
By the way, we've hit 6.1 million followers on TikTok, and that's mainly where all the Trump comedy is. On Instagram, I'm far less because I'm mainly me, but it's all the Johnny D Show on any of the platforms. Come and find me, follow me. Obviously, the 28th appearance will be on there and coming in, and all the B-roll stuff will be on there too.
I love it. John, I love you, man. Thank you so much.
You too, Brian.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come in studio. I cannot wait. You are the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
All right, guys. See you soon.
All right, John. Take care.
Right,
John DiDomenico, everybody. A brilliant comedian. He's so funny. He's so good at what he does. And every single time he comes on the show, there are people that are upset at me because they actually really think I'm talking to Donald Trump. Because as much as the funny and ridiculous things that he says, Donald Trump has said things like that before. So that's what makes it maybe I don't know, a little bit confusing.
Believable.
Yeah. And that is true, by the way. John DiDomenico as Donald Trump from the Howard Stern Show will be joining us in studio in the makeup. And we'll be taking phone calls on October 28th. That is going to be so great. I cannot wait for that. And we'll be taking calls. You'll be able to ask Donald Trump a question. That's going to be so much fun. So we're certainly looking forward to that. John is a good friend, and he's one of the best in the business, and I love him to death. Before we take phone calls, Leonard, I just wanted to discuss a few things with you. So Pete Hegseth, again, the defense secretary, second in command, put out an ultimatum that he wanted all members of the media to sign off on, all the big networks, right? Fox News, Newsmax, CNN, MSNBC, all the reporters. And I do find it very interesting because this is a dictatorship, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
He said, don't report the news.
Right. And the only network to sign off on it, the only network was OAN. That's not even really a network. Even Newsmax wouldn't sign off on this. What do you make of this?
Well, I think that, the AP, the New York Times, they all refuse to sign off on it. And for the people who aren't familiar with it, Pete Hegseth wants the reporters that go to the Pentagon and report on the military to not be able to submit reports in their actual original form. He wants to make it so that you cannot put out a report unless it goes through his office and they approve it. And if that's not state-run media, if that's not Kim Jong-un, North Korea, Putin, Russia, if that's not state-run media where there is no reporting of the real facts, then what would you call it? I don't know what else to call it.
Well, I mean, when you don't even have Newsmax and Fox News on your side, there's something very wrong.
And OAN's up and coming, and
I wouldn't say they're up and coming. I wouldn't even
and-
say they're up and coming. I just think they're a joke, just like all these other RSBN and Newsmax. They're not news organizations.
and they're going
a
to do
joke.
what's best for them.
They're
and it
Trump
gets them,
fluffers.
yeah.
That's what they are. They're Trump fluffers, and it's an embarrassment. I mean, the few moments I've had Newsmax on, I see those Trump watches being sold, and it's just like, it's such a joke. The people that are so brainwashed that watch these networks that are so bad for the American people, because there's a lot of people in this country that Donald Trump has exposed for believing anything and everything that he says or these networks say.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of 1933 when Hitler passed the Enablement Act, which gave him authority over the media and what they say, and the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech. And if you read the history, it's almost identical. I don't know if it's planned that way, but it's almost identical to pieces of the Enabling Act.
Oh, it is. And when we look at where we're at in this country right now, and we know that Donald Trump wants this shutdown to continue, we know that. How do we know that? Because Republicans, Mike Johnson, are refusing to meet with Democrats to sit at the table and to try to negotiate. While our brave men and women in uniform aren't getting paid, while everybody basically who works in
Mike
government
Johnson
is
gave
not
them
getting a
another week
paycheck.
vacation. He said, take off another week. I'm not opening the session. And, we know the real reasons.
Of
You know,
course.
it has to do with the Epstein files.
Of course
and
it
it
does.
has to do with confirming the new congressional Democrat from Arizona.
Yeah, and he just said last week, oh, well, we'll confirm her whenever she wants to. And then she writes a letter to Mike Johnson, and interesting how they're not confirming her. Geez, I wonder why. Because it's at the directive of Donald Trump. That's why.
And all he has to do is have a pro forma session. That's all he has to do, which the Republicans did in April to confirm two of their choices.
Right. And before we take phone calls at 702-221-7283, I also want to remind everybody that the war is not over. No, I'm not talking about the war in Ukraine. That certainly is not over. Donald Trump has said time and time again that the war is over. Here is why, and here is evidence that the war is not over. First of all, this is a ceasefire. Am I glad that innocent Israelis that were taken hostage have been freed? Of course that's a good thing. Just like I thought it was a good thing when Whelan and several other Americans were freed and brought home. Just like when Joe Biden was responsible for freeing 125 hostages.
They act like they don't even remember
earlier. 125 Israeli hostages. Joe Biden was responsible for helping to negotiate the release of them. I'm just as happy at that. I'm happy that these 20 hostages were released. It's very sad that many of them are in bad health condition. It's very sad that many people will not be going home to their
Today,
families.
Israel cut the food supply in half, not to belabor the point, but there was supposed to be 6,000 tons a day going in. Now it's only 3,000 because they were upset that all of the dead bodies were not returned, that only 4 out of the 28 were returned, and there's another 4
Well, we knew
today.
that was going to happen because they don't know where all these bodies are. That's number one. Number two, why do I say the war is not over? Well, it's very simple. It's very simple, Leonard. Because Hamas is still armed.
They just reoccupied half of Gaza. They just reoccupied it.
That was my next
And they're
point.
going door to door. And people should know they're going door to door, and they're harassing people. And they're actually, they say they're I haven't seen this to prove, but the word is they're publicly executing people who spoke against them while Hamas was in hiding. And Israel shot some people at the border. There's a border in Gaza. I think it's a yellow line or red line. I can't remember which color. But some people penetrated that, and they were shot and killed just yesterday.
So
that's not a ceasefire.
More people are losing their lives. The ceasefire has basically already been broken. Just like the last ceasefire under the Trump administration, where Israel broke the ceasefire within 24 hours. We can sit here. See, it's just like the point that I made last month when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I said, you can call out the violence, but also not want to celebrate his life. You can be happy that 20 Israeli hostages were sent home to their families, but also own the fact that Donald Trump has not ended this war. He has lied, and he continues to lie about this war, which is far from over. Until you actually dismantle Hamas, the war is not over. In fact, it's far from over, and there's a reason why Benjamin Netanyahu refuses to say the war is over, because it's not.
And plus, if you don't mind me saying, Netanyahu was on his way out. So the only party that supports him is the extreme religious party. And so people don't know, Netanyahu only has 50%. He's just over 50%, and he's falling below because of the hostages.
Well, listen, he's not going to win re-election. We know that.
And they were getting ready to make a decision on him. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's why he released the hostages.
Benjamin Netanyahu is very unpopular within Israelis.
And it's going downward.
And again, when MAGA Republicans will say, oh, well, you don't think it's a good idea that the hostages were returned?
It's terrific.
We can be happy that hostages were returned, but call out your orange turd leader for lying and saying that the war is over. It is not over.
Just bluster,
and where
Brian.
were all of you when Joe Biden helped release many hostages, whether it be Brittany Griner or Whelan or 125 Israeli hostages? Where were you when Donald Trump was taking credit for hostages being released, being sent back to this country? Remember when Whelan and 2 others were sent back to America and Donald Trump was taking credit for it when he had absolutely nothing to do with it, and Joe Biden and his administration did that? I'm not saying the Joe Biden administration was perfect, but what I am saying is when hostages are released and the guy who used to be president is taking credit for it, and now we should somehow be giving him credit for what took place here. The war is not over. He's a liar. I'm very happy that these 20 hostages were released. It's terrible, and Hamas is a terrorist organization. This war is far from over. And every single time Donald Trump says the war is over, he is lying, and we need to call him out for it. The war is no more closer to be over between Hamas and Israel than Ukraine and Russia. And Donald Trump saying add this to the list of the 30 wars that he's ended in the last 7 months. It's all a lie. All this guy does is lie.
Brian, what are they going to do with the 1.5 million Palestinians that live on the Gaza Strip?
It's blown to smithereens. Where are they going to live?
What's going to happen to the Palestinian Authority? Are they coming back? Is Hamas going to run the show? Hamas is supposed to de-arm. That's in phase 2 of the agreement. They're supposed to disarm and they're supposed to leave the area. Do you really think that's going to happen? Because I don't. I think it's great that they got the hostages back, and I was there and it was emotional. I enjoyed watching it, but the war's not over. That's just bluster. That was so.
Yeah, but these are people's lives here.
It was terrible.
These are people's lives here,
They
and
don't
he's
care.
just trying to score political points,
Yeah.
making out to be some sort of hero. When Joe Biden helped orchestrate the release of more Israeli hostages than Donald Trump did times 5. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't give credit where credit is due for any president that helps release hostages in any situation, but no MAGA supporters that I know, and certainly Donald Trump. Not only was Donald Trump not giving Joe Biden credit for release of American hostages, but he was taking credit for that under the Joe Biden administration. Where were you MAGA buffoons then? So I don't want to hear you guys say, wow, look at this, Donald, look at what Donald Trump did.
Because
Kamala Harris couldn't have done this. Joe Biden couldn't have done this. They did do it, and they did it at a rate 5 times larger than what you did, Donald Trump. It's a joke. Do we forget? Do you MAGA Republicans have Alzheimer's? Are you in the bunker? Do you forget what Joe Biden was able to do?
They do.
The negotiations that he made in January of 2005 with a ceasefire that actually worked, where hostages were again released. Did we forget about that? Donald Trump only wants to blame Joe Biden when anything goes wrong during his administration, and then when anything went well in Joe Biden's administration, Donald Trump tried to take credit for it. So screw all of you who want to say we should give Donald Trump a hug and a pat on the back. Why would any Jewish person vote for anybody else other than Donald Trump? Screw you. You don't know how to deal with facts. You don't even understand the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu is not only a very unpopular prime minister, but Donald Trump is trying to get involved in asking for a pardon for this guy in judicial foreign affairs, which is, by the way, against our own Constitution. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. The war is not over. The war is no closer to being over in Ukraine than it was on day one.
That's the point.
Yeah, it's a joke. But he's ending
the war
8
is
wars.
not over. It's not even close. There are so many things that need 92% of all homes on the Gaza Strip are leveled and destroyed. 60% of all structures in the Gaza Strip are destroyed. Have you seen pictures of it? It looks like rubble. It looks like a destroyed pile of rubble. And I think Donald Trump thinks he's going to build Trump hotels there. But what do you do with the 1.5 million Palestinians that live there? What do you do
meanwhile,
with them?
you know what drives me nuts?
Them?
When you have that moron, Jared Kushner, and that's what Jared Kushner is.
Yeah,
He's an embarrassed moron who's burned his father's money, who received a $2.1 billion check from the Saudis, and he's standing there in the background with his wife, Ivanka, as if they did anything to help orchestrate this. All they care about is money. That's all they care about here. That's all Donald Trump cares about is money and inflating his ego or his chest and stomach. I don't know which one it is. It is a joke. Okay. If you're one of those MAGA supporters right now that thinks that Donald Trump should be praised to high heaven and get the Nobel, I would call it the Nobel Pedo Prize. I would give him that. But if you think that Donald Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for helping allegedly orchestrate the release of 20 Israeli hostages, then I guess Joe Biden should get 5 Nobel Peace Prizes for helping release 125 Israeli hostages, or Whelan and the American hostages that were sent home. Do you remember when in Donald Trump's first administration, Leonard? Do you remember when Otto Warmbier was sent home and was basically a vegetable?
Yes.
And Donald Trump wanted praise from his family and then took the side of Kim Jong-un. And Kim Jong-un on a world stage said, I had nothing to do with it. And Donald Trump said, well, I have no reason to believe that Kim Jong-un had anything to do with it.
What happened to America First, Brian?
Yeah, that's
What
America
happened to
First.
All of it. Everything he's doing, he's spending more time in Israel and over at the Gaza Strip and in Egypt why doesn't he settle why doesn't he make peace in his own country?
Yeah.
It's very divided right now. It's getting more and more violent. Let's call it what it is. These ICE agents are having more and more violence. People are protesting. There was an accident. I guess they crashed into their vehicles, and people were shot yesterday, I think. And so why is he so concerned about peace and all the people that are dying? How about all the people without medical coverage? They're saying that within a year, 4,000 to 5,000 people could die because they can't afford or can't get medical care. What about that? What about America First?
It's not America.
You know who's the
First.
America First people? The independents, the Democrats, the people that care about this country. Those are the America First
According
people.
to Donald Trump, the America First people are himself, the Trump family, and tech billionaires that have received the biggest tax breaks in decades, the top 1%. That's Donald Trump's America First. And
Democrats are the America First
bailing out other countries that certainly do not deserve our help. And Qatar giving Donald Trump gifts. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure this $400 million jumbo jet and the $5.5 billion golf resort that's going to be built there had nothing to do with Donald Trump allowing a group that Donald Trump once said harbored terrorists, which, by the way, they still do in Qatar. And now they're going to have their own military air base right here in the United States. It is despicable. It is disgusting. This is not America First. It's certainly not middle America First. And for all you morons out there, and that's what I'm going to call you right now, who voted against your own interests, still can't see the forest through the trees and can't see that you made a mistake.
Get them to call in and prove you wrong. Prove me wrong, bro.
Well, a lot of them don't have the brain power to do so, but I'm going to give out the number anyway. The number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. So obviously the question we're talking, do you disagree with me and Leonard? Do you think that we should be giving Donald Trump credit for these 20 hostages that were released?
Brian. That's the thing. We don't know his involvement.
Yeah, so that's my question to the callers, which is, do you think that we should be giving Donald Trump credit for what's going on here?
Egypt was working on this deal. Qatar was working on this deal. The Saudi Arabians were working on this deal. There was a lot of Middle East countries who, without their cooperation, this ceasefire would have never happened. So, but we know Steve Witkoff was over there talking to them. So you got to give him a little credit for being in the meeting, but we don't know Donald Trump's involvement. Even on MSNBC, they said this morning that we don't really know his involvement. He's taking credit for it, which I would never do. I would never do something like that, but we don't know how involved he was.
That is true. We don't. Number to call 702-221-7283 if you would like to be involved in this conversation. I do want to go to the YouTube Super Chat, if I may, as we always appreciate those who want their questions and comments read live on the air. Cowpoke Ranch, and thank you for your support, says, we Black Americans want our reparations in the form of the U.S. government pressuring the Mexican government to give us back California after they stole it from us militarily in 1928 after we purchased and colonized it.
Interesting. Well, they want to steal. They want to get back Baja California, petition Mexico and say, can you guys give that back? I don't know. You know what, Cowpoke? I don't know if that's going to happen, but I understand your frustration. I understand the way that it was taken and occupied, but I don't know, Brian. Thank you for the donation. But I don't see that happening.
That. I think we have another donation. Moose says hello from the East Coast. Hello, Moose. Thank you for your support of the show. Any other questions and comments can be read live on the air in the YouTube Super Chat. And of course, if you want to donate, you can go to pushingthelimits.live. I promised you guys that I would get right to the phone calls. I would like to do that now at 702-221-7283. You don't have to be a friendly. You don't have to be anti-Trump. In fact, we welcome calls from MAGA. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan is first up on PTL. Hello, Ryan.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ryan. What's on your mind?
So what's on my mind is I never saw Trump as everyone first. And another thing that I want to mention is that vote suppression won and Trump actually lost in 2024. The 4,736,706 votes were purged wrongly.
Well, I can't, Ryan, I appreciate the call. I can't prove that. And unless somebody can prove that somehow the election was stolen and there's actually real sufficient evidence, I can't go there because I don't want to be like those morons in 2020 that say Trump won.
There's no proof. 63 lawsuits.
Yeah, that's why I don't entertain any of that. I appreciate your call. You're entitled to your opinions, my friend. I do appreciate you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Gabe. Gabe is next up on PTL. Hi, Gabe.
Hey, buddy. Good morning, Brian. Good afternoon, Brian. Good afternoon, Leonard. How you guys are doing? So the topic I want to discuss right now is the so-called ceasefire in Gaza. I don't buy it. It's not going to, in regards to what's going to happen in the next few weeks or few months, it's not going to hold. I'm sorry.
I don't see how it can, to be honest with you. I don't, with Hamas reoccupying Gaza and half of it closed off by security, by the IDF, and them standing right next to each other, and now they're cutting off the food supply again. And it's like it's filled with gasoline, and all it's going to take is one match to relight the fire. That's the way I look at it.
Also, Bibi Netanyahu is still in power. He's still prime minister, and he doesn't want the war to end, or else Bibi Netanyahu doesn't want the war to end, because if it does, he's going to go on trial because of corruption charges. And also, like I said, it's not going to end. And I mean, I support the cause of the Palestinian people. I understand their suffering and being effort, and it's a genocide. Let's be honest with that.
Well, I certainly think one could characterize it as that. But I'm not here to defend the Israeli government. I'm certainly not here to defend Benjamin Netanyahu. We know that Hamas needs to be defeated. I know that for sure. And I will tell you that it is very difficult to get into a conversation with someone who does not believe that Israel should exist. It's hard to get into a good faith conversation with somebody like that. We have to meet somewhere in between. Israel does have the right to exist. Benjamin Netanyahu has been terrible for his people. What a failure on October 7th. At the same time, Hamas needs to be defeated, and the Israeli government needs to do a better job of not taking the lives of innocent people as well. There needs to be some cooperation on both sides. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get that with Hamas. And if you don't get that with Hamas, then Israel is going to break the ceasefire. It's only been 48 hours. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. If you would like to be a part of the conversation, let's go to Chris. I believe Chris is next. Or I'm sorry, Scott. Scott is next up on PTL. Hey, Scott, what's going on? Hi, Scott. Go right ahead.
Is that his radio?
Scott?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's on your mind?
I had two conversations I'd like to share with you. One is yesterday. Pardon me. I'm on the street on Charleston by the college. A friend of mine came up and said that she's going to Mesquite to support her sister having breast cancer surgery, and told me how she would love to find a cure for cancer. When I told her that Biden invested $500 million in cancer research and Trump cut it, she walked away. Oh, let's change the subject. I don't want to hear that. And then today I had a debate with a friend of mine who over education, special education, and she went off on me about how it's states' rights. I hung up because I couldn't get a word in. But just because you turn something over to a state doesn't mean it's going to be better, because are they going to have the money to fund the education?
Right.
So I'm glad I grew up in New York, in a blue city, in a blue state. I'm grateful. And the only one other thing I want to give Trump a lot of credit for is being a fat, diarrhea-laden piece of crap.
Well, you're certainly not going to get an argument for me when it comes to Donald Trump. That is for sure. This is one of the biggest problems of many that I have with Trump supporters, is that when you actually confront them with facts, they don't want to talk about it. They are stuck in their Newsmax, OAN, Fox News bubble, and they don't want to respond to facts.
And then they get personal.
Will Chamberlain
call names.
Yeah, Will Chamberlain is a perfect example.
Then he tried to berate you because he didn't like what you were saying.
Yeah, because people like Will Chamberlain, who's the moron who did my show last week, who doesn't want to come on again because he doesn't want to be challenged. when these people are in their right-wing bubble, they do the Jack Posobiec show, they do the Steve Bannon show, they do Jesse Waters, they know that they will not be challenged and they can say whatever they want. But when they do a show like this, they're not prepared. And when they have to respond and they're challenged with their right-wing propaganda rhetoric, I'd like to think when I do some of these other shows like Pierce tomorrow, is that they have me on to combat their BS. And they have me on to confront their lies, whether it be somebody who attacks trans people 24/7 in Riley Gaines, whether it be somebody like Jack Posobiec, who started the whole Pizzagate scandal, whether it be somebody like Roger Stone, who was a 7-count convicted felon, whether it be somebody like Clay Travis, who lies every day and does a really good job at attacking black WNBA players. He does that well every day. I confront them with their BS and their nonsense. And I will continue to do that. And I have no idea who I'm going to be debating tomorrow, but no matter who it is, I promise you that will not change for me.
I can't wait.
Yes.
It'll be
fun. It always is. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, 702-221-7283 if you do want to be a part of the conversation. Why don't we go to Tez? Tez is next up on PTL. Hi, Tez.
It's Tez with a P, but it's okay, Brian.
Tez.
Calling me Tez for well,
Okay.
kind of got adjusted to it, but thank you.
Okay, Pez. My apologies. Go right ahead.
That's no problem. My mother liked the candy, and it's also the Mexican word for fish. Anyway,
fair enough.
Wanted to let you guys know. I know while you were on the air, looks like Time Magazine coined a new attribute with their cover shot of Donald Trump. It's called the neck gina, and so he seems to be extremely disturbed that the angle of the camera was not flattering for him. But
grabbing him by the neck. That's I should get a shirt with his picture on it. Grab him by the neck.
I think roosters around the country are jealous.
I would like to know how they do that. I would like to know how they get the skin folded, over each other, and then they put on the shirt and they make it the collar tight enough to hold it in, and it holds it in all day. That's amazing. Do they tape it? Do they glue it?
Yeah. Well, Taco Trump. Now there's another one. We knew that he was a chicken, but now he literally is neck
Taco
chicken.
neck?
Taco neck. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to reiterate what Leonard said. Everybody's happy the hostages are freed and people are back with their family. And the negotiations were mainly done by Middle Eastern oil countries, and Trump can take credit for it. But the reality is the country's been obliterated. It's been leveled. It looks like, it doesn't look like the scape of the moon. I don't know how they're possibly going to rebuild it. But let him bask in his glory. There's been 10 ceasefires so far. They were all breached. This one involved the hostage exchange, and I said, that's great. I'm happy for everyone, but I don't think it's going to hold. And as your previous caller said, Bibi's trying to not be indicted. I don't know if you've seen pictures of their parliament in session, but he's been called out, just as Trump has, in order to not be prosecuted or go on trial. The war is going to have to continue. It's in the best interest of the military-industrial complex of the United States. We supply them with arms. We give them crazy amounts of money, and I don't think it's going to hold. I just wanted to say that. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Leonard, peace out. Same to you, Brian. Bro,
Thank
love
you.
you guys.
Have a good day. Thank you
friend.
for your
Appreciate
for your opinion.
So just to reset what we're doing, taking calls from whether you're a MAGA supporter or not, and what we are doing right now is we are talking, of course, about the situation in Israel. Do you think that Donald Trump deserves credit for 20 hostages being released when Joe Biden's responsible for 5 times that? MAGA never gave Joe Biden any credit for it. In fact, they criticized Joe Biden, and Donald Trump decided to take credit for it when Whelan was brought home.
And Trump let terrorists out of jail.
5,000 Taliban terrorists were released.
And I think
under
we got
Donald
nothing
Trump.
in exchange for that, correct?
Nothing.
Am I correct?
Nothing.
Yeah, 5,000 Talibans. Let them out.
Yeah, in fact, it was Donald Trump who invited them to America, last I checked. 702-221-7283. Trump Reaper is next up on PTL. Hello, Trump Reaper.
Hey,
Good.
Hi there.
I'm just wondering how many countries are going to be participating Saturday with us, October 18th, in the No Kings and No Tyrants protests.
I think there's going to be tens of millions. I think there's going to be tens of millions of protesters across the country. I really do.
Yeah, and this one is supposed to be even bigger than the last one, and I live in the Los Angeles area. I'm going to try to go to at least a couple of them. So,
yeah.
So
we hope and pray that
and
there's no violence. We hope and pray that it's peaceful and that Americans are allowed to exert their First Amendment right and go out there and give their opinion.
I would say that if you're attending one of these rallies, that you care about this country. I would say that if you're attending one of these rallies, you care about our democracy and you love this country. However, MAGA right have already painted you out to be a terrorist. MAGA right have painted you out to be violent, when all you want to do is use your First Amendment rights.
Who's inciting the violence?
And peacefully protest. Yeah, correct. And listen, I hope there's a great turnout on
Who's
Saturday.
hoping
across
it gets
the country.
violent? Not us.
No, of course not. And let me also be clear, if there is violence, which I hope there isn't, I think it'll start from the right. That's my personal opinion. And listen, if I'm wrong, I'll go on the air and
I'll
I'll
blame the left.
Yep, that's what I think. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Justin. Justin is next up on PTL. What's up, Justin?
How you doing?
Good.
Oh boy.
I suppose I'm doing as good as I can be. I'm actually happy to be a part of the show.
Thank you.
But it's honestly, like, I actually have to say, from the last few years of my life, I've actually been rather apolitical, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the last few months, I have kind of come out of my political shell. And if you want to know why, it's actually because of you, Parker, and Dean.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say. Parker's a friend. He's done this show before. I'd love to get Dean on eventually. But yeah, Parker's a good dude, and I like their work. I think they do a really good job. And you know, we just got to keep the fight up, brother. You know?
Yeah, I do agree. And the really big question that I would like to ask anyone, and this is a big one I have to ask because of the fact that it has to do with health care.
Yeah.
But say, like, I've actually been on Medicaid for about, I want to say, a little less than a year. And I'm actually getting ready to get the rest of my teeth taken out, which, God forbid, it's going to be painful because I'm not going to be under when they do it.
That doesn't sound that's fun.
That sounds very painful.
No. I've had several teeth extractions, but I really want to know how are people supposed to pay for, like, such extreme bills for medical health?
Well, they're not going to be able
and
to.
the Trump administration doesn't care if they do or not.
They're not going to
He
be
doesn't
able
care.
to. But here's what is even more distressing than what you even said, is that there are a lot of people in this country that need Medicaid to live. Okay, they could be diabetics.
Absolutely.
And the problem that we are going to have is that when they lose their health care coverage, and we know millions of Americans are going to, is that they're going to get sick. They're going to go to the ER. Sadly, some of them are going to lose their lives because Republicans would rather give tax breaks to the richest people in this country than help the most needy people in this country. That is one of the big fundamental differences today between Republicans and Democrats. They would rather put more money in their pocket and totally be fine with Americans that are losing health care coverage, that are suffering, that are living paycheck to paycheck. It's absolutely
Their attitude is,
despicable.
oh, well.
It's
That's
despicable.
what they say. Oh, well, I guess
Yeah.
you're just going to have to die. And preventative care is the cheapest way to get medical coverage. If you prevent the diseases, that's the cheapest way. But if you can't afford it, then you're going to have to wait till you actually get, like, in your deathbed, horribly sick before you go, and you're going to have to pay anyway.
Listen, I hope you get the health care that you deserve, and I hope you get the dental work that you need done. But if
Sounds
you don't,
painful.
just tell people that you're an NHL hockey player. That's like a good excuse. Just say, hey, I play hockey, and you know, when I retire, that's when and then hopefully by then you'll be able to get the health care that you deserve. But boo, that sounds painful, my friend. I wish you the best of
face.
I wish you the best of luck. Give us an update on that. Let's go to Craig. 702-221-7283. I got a deal for you. If you're a MAGA supporter, tell our producer Numchuck, and I promise I'll get to you. Craig, what's going on?
I am not MAGA.
That's okay. Sir. That's all right.
This is Buzzard from TikTok, so some of your callers might know. Anyways, I want to change gears just for a half a second. Donald Trump is bragging today that he got another fishing boat and unalived 6. Good for us.
From which country? Do you know which country it was from?
Venezuela again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he
I mean, they think it's okay if it's on water. They think it's fine to just execute people because we think, you know, they're bringing drugs in. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. What is this, the fourth one? Something like that?
It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. Most countries would pull up alongside them and see what's going on.
Yeah, they're not identifying them. They're not asking them any questions.
And here's what's even more daunting, Leonard, is that we don't know who exactly was on that boat. For all we know, it could be someone on the boat that's committing crimes, but they could have kids with them on the boat.
Family out.
We have no idea.
And he bragged.
Yeah.
He said, "You see, no one's out fishing. You notice that, don't you? No more fishing boats." And he laughed about it.
He
Who does that?
Funny. Our president. That's who. That's like. But real quick, so you're talking about whether he deserves credit. I'll give him a little bit of credit for putting the final nails in the House. But the problem with everything that's happening, Donald Trump, if you're with your neighbor and you're hanging out and your neighbor lights a fire, and then you go over there, throw a little kindling on the fire, and then you throw some gasoline on the fire, and then you decide I'm going to come over with the hose and put the fire out. Do you get a reward for putting out the fire?
Exactly. He wants to be the hero.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then there's some congressperson trying to make a legislation to give him the Nobel Peace Prize again.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's such a joke. That's what they care about, the Nobel Pedo Prize, to give it to Donald Trump, which, by the way, I'd be more than okay with that. But they're not worried about all these federal workers that are either losing their jobs or not getting paid. They're clearly not worried about us heading towards a recession, these abysmal job numbers that have come out recently. They're certainly not concerned about so many Americans that are going to lose their health care coverage, but they're concerned about Donald Trump getting the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, it's an absolute joke. Mike Johnson, with that stupid grin on his face, up there today, lying to the American people, saying, "Oh, well, this is Chuck Schumer's shutdown."
It's supposed to be a Christian.
It's such a joke. These people are so despicable. He says he's a
Christian. He's no Christian.
Yeah, going back in time, I hope all these people go to hell. I really do. I really do.
Donald Trump's not going to. Donald Trump said he's not going to heaven, so there's that.
Yeah. He's going to have his 74 virgins up in heaven, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig.
I'm sure that's he's no better than Al Qaeda as far as I'm concerned.
Can I do a quick breaking news?
Yes.
So CNN reported that Donald Trump announced that if Hamas does not disarm, that he will disarm them. Does that sound like peace?
Does that
sound like a step towards peace?
Now, I agree with that sentiment, but certainly it doesn't sound like peace to me. I thought the war was over, Mr. President. What happened? I thought the war was over.
Why do you have to threaten them? It was part of the supposedly 21-point that became a 20-point peace deal. Then it became a phase 1. Now it's a phase 2. Do you really think that Hamas, I mean, they're a terrorist organization. They're supported by the Middle East. They're funded by Iran and other big countries. Are they going to just take their arms and just lay them down? Yesterday, they were walking up and down the Gaza Strip with black masks on. So all you could see was their eyes, and heavily armed, walking up and down the strip. You think they're going to give that up? That's ridiculous.
No, I don't.
That is not what someone says when they're trying to create peace.
Yeah.
That if you don't disarm, I will make you.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just it's not peace. And I said this yesterday, going to the YouTube super chat, and Cowpoke says, a reason I bring up California is that was our only safe haven nation state in the Northern Hemisphere, which we purchased and built. That land belongs to Black America and is our peninsula nation. No, I understand that, Cowpoke. Back to the YouTube super chat. Moose says, "You too, the show deserves this. Thank you." Well, Moose, we appreciate your
thanks.
support. That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support. By the way, if you're a MAGA supporter, I know there's very few of you that are willing to call in, but I see a lot of people on the chat, especially on TikTok, a few on YouTube. You're more than welcome to call in, and we'll put you at the front of the line. If you would like to tell me that you think Donald Trump deserves all the credit
or
in
even
the world
a conservative
for
Republican.
what is going on in Israel, 702-221.
Doesn't have to be a MAGA.
Again, that number is 702-221-7283. Yeah, even if you're a conservative, are you happy with what's going on right now with
conservative
Donald Trump?
Republican. Call in. Let us know what you think.
Let's go to X. X is next up on PTL. What's up, X?
Hello, Brian. Hello, Leonard. What I wanted to know was what do you guys have in plan, to help, take the elections in 2026 and 2020? Because the most important thing that matters is winning elections.
Yeah, I think that I have a real issue, X, and I've said it on the show, and it's not popular in the live chat when I bag on Democrats, but they do not have a clear leader, and I keep asking, where's our Project 2029 plan? Where is it? They had the 2025. That plan had been crafted over, they say, a couple of decades. But where's our plan?
Well, let me start with
leadership.
So, X, let me start with something that I'm pretty confident that Democrats won't do. They won't take away your health care. They won't take away your food stamps.
I know, but what I'm saying is, how do you guys plan to help people win? Because
I'm telling you, first of all, the plan is to do the opposite of what MAGA Republicans are doing right now. And I'm surprised that you'd be okay with what MAGA Republicans are doing right now. Sending hold on while I'm answering your question, and sending the military into cities where local law enforcement say it's unneeded, to have our own military fight against our own American citizens, to not give people the right to due process and go everything against our Constitution is for. I would also say to go against the biggest tax breaks that we've had in the history of this country for the top 1%, while middle America is struggling and we're headed towards a recession, and using these tariffs to attack our allies, ruining people, ruining their families, splitting apart their families, not giving people due process.
I talked to multiple people and stuff like that. And a friend of mine, one time told me, let's watch a Dare Attack Man show. And Dare Attack Man was talking to True Allegiance, where they do, what was I going to say, with borders,
What about borders? People. Well, I don't understand, though. X, help me understand this. What has Donald Trump done that's good for the country, in your opinion? What has he done?
Like I said, I never thought he was good. He was not my choice, period.
Okay, but you're on the fence. You've said you're on the fence on this.
And he did say America first. So Brian's saying, what's he done?
What has he done? I mean, I'll throw in the first administration as well. I'll even give you, 5 years. What has he done that you say? I mean, I could probably name maybe a few things, but what has he done in 8 months that you would say, man, that was really good for the country?
Last administration, 2017 to 2019 to 2020, it was kind of good.
Okay, so what was kind of good? When you say it was kind of good, I need you to be a little bit more specific than that. What was kind of good? And then X hangs up the phone. You see, let me explain to X what wasn't kind of good. When we were all locked up in our rooms with masks on, and we were losing 4,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID. And meanwhile, Donald Trump was holding COVID press conferences and turning them into campaign rallies and underscoring how serious the virus was, and basically saying the opposite and talking about injecting yourself
Clorox
with a disinfectant. Okay, that wasn't kind of good. I'm going to tell you something else that wasn't kind of good. Something called January 6th. Where after a free and fair election, Donald Trump lied and continues to say that the election was rigged or stolen. He said it again a few days ago. And then we had some innocent people that lost their lives. We had some people, Capitol police officers that have traumatic brain injury because of morons that were there listening to their orange turd, adjudicated abuser and 34 count felon who said that the election was stolen. That wasn't, quote, kind of good. I'll tell you something else that hasn't been kind of good in the last 8 months. The worst jobs report we've had in decades. The tariffs are ruining our economy. We are headed towards a recession. There are people all over the country that are not getting due process. Good, hardworking people. They might have not have the legal documentation, but they have families. X. That's not kind of good. X.
So why is he on the fence?
So tell me what's kind of good in the last 8 months. On the fence? X, what's kind of good? Just help me understand. I want your opinion. What's kind of good right now? What's Trump done that's kind of good?
What I'm saying is right now I'm not happy. But are you just?
Then why are you on the fence?
Then why are you on the fence? Then you can't name one thing that he's done that's kind of good.
Get off the fence. Get in the game. Pick a side. Be able to articulate why you're on the side.
X, hold on. Let's give you the chance, X, okay? X, you use the term kind of good. In the 8 months of Donald Trump's second administration, can you please tell me what's, quote, kind of good?
I mean, at first I thought it was the deportations, but I'm starting to second guess that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So
you mean the kidnappings?
I appreciate that, X. That's a start. Okay. X, I appreciate that. Give me something else. Can you name anything that's kind of good?
That was the only thing that I could.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So okay, X. Okay, so I appreciate your honesty, X. So can you admit now? Hold on. Just let me get this question in, X. Then you got the floor. Okay. Can you admit that Donald Trump has been a horrible president? You can't even name one thing that he's done that's even kind of good. I agree with you on immigration. I'm glad you've changed your mind on that.
I mean, I think he's just trying to, just get even, man.
I agree with you.
Revenge tour. He says it himself.
So that's not a good president, right? That's not a good attribute for somebody that's the leader of the free world, right?
when it was with Mike Pence and other people like that, it was.
So are you okay? So X, with all, I appreciate that. So X, with all that being said, are you willing to admit now? Are you willing to admit now that you are not on the fence?
I'm starting to have considerations.
He's starting to step to the other side.
Okay, you're starting to.
Like, look, listen, what I want to ask you is, I'm not a fan of him. I'm a fan of Nixon. Not a fan of him.
Nixon? Did he say Nixon?
Yeah, he said Nixon.
President Nixon?
He was a conservative liberal.
Yeah,
he got
conservative liar.
He was impeached, and after he was impeached, when it went to the Senate to get confirmed, he decided to quit.
All right, well,
because he knew he would get confirmed in the Senate.
So Leonard, you're right. We can go down that rabbit hole with him on Nixon. I don't even want to do that. X, I'm curious about something. Donald, hold on, X, hold on. Hear me out, X. You couldn't name one semi-good thing that Donald Trump has done in 8 months. And you can't say unequivocally that he's a bad president and I am on the other side now? You can't unequivocally say that?
I just want the other side to be able to tell me something important. And what I want to ask you is, do you think that people who go and vote,
can you say, can you honestly say that you've seen the light, that the PTL Nation has shown you the light and you see it?
X, I can't understand what you're saying. I'm going to try to.
He's talking about people going out to vote.
Okay, forget about people going out to vote. X.
Do you think people need to have basic civics tests?
Okay.
So they know what the voting
So
is?
X.
Do you agree with that?
I will respond to that in a moment. I will respond to that in one moment. Let me ask you again. This is a very important question. You couldn't name one semi-good thing that Donald Trump has done in 8 months. You said you're.
I guess maybe the peace deal.
Are you?
When I watched it.
Okay, so wait a second. How is it? Okay, let's go with that. You mentioned civics. Okay. Explain to me how this is a peace deal and not a ceasefire deal. Please explain that to me.
Oh, when I was talking about basic civics test, what I was saying is for people who go vote,
Whoa! I'm not talking about. Wait, X.
He's saying basic civics test.
X. You just said it was a peace. X. Focus. You just said it was a peace deal. Explain.
That's what Adam Martin said when I watched it.
Oh, X. Listen to the question. Explain to me how this is a quote unquote peace deal and not a ceasefire. Please explain.
Adam Mockler, I watched the show.
I didn't ask you about Adam Mockler. By the way, Adam Mockler also agrees that this is not a peace deal. So I don't know what you're talking about. Adam Mockler.
He was on CNN
so
last
X,
night. Yeah.
Forget about Adam Mockler. I'm asking you. Explain to me how this is a peace deal and not a ceasefire deal. Go ahead.
You want to help him?
Don't worry, it's not like we're on the radio or anything, but that's okay. I'll take your silence as you not understanding. So,
it was not a peace deal.
So X, Leonard and I have been talking about this.
It's not a peace deal, and the war is not over, and that's just bluster. That is Trump blustering, saying the war is over, and I had something to do with it.
X, when Hamas over the last 48 hours have executing people, okay, and they still have their weaponry, and they own or are in power of good portions of Gaza. Explain to me how this was a peace deal. Go ahead. I'll give you another opportunity. Go ahead. Explain how that's a peace deal.
It still remains to be seen. That's what I'm really saying. It remains to be seen. But there's
why would you call it a peace deal when Hamas is executing people? How is that a peace deal? How does that remain to be seen?
They're going door to door, and they're finding the people that spoke against them. And the reports are that they're executing them in the street.
I read every type of article, whatever it be from Adam.
I don't know what article you're. No article. There's no article. There's no article that's saying that this is a peace deal that has any bit of credibility. Okay, because it's not a peace deal. I don't know. Okay, the PBD. Okay, Patrick Bet-David is an imbecile. Okay, to give that guy any bit of credibility says a little bit about you. Okay, Adam Mockler has never said this is a peace deal. Okay, Donald Trump might want peace in the region. There's not peace in the region. Hamas has their artillery. Okay, they have executed people in the last 24 to 48 hours. That, to me, that is already breaking a ceasefire. So it's not even really a ceasefire. You're calling it a peace deal? What are you talking about? He hung up the phone. We didn't hang up on him. And he wants to talk about a civics test? What is he talking about?
Well, civics, I understand what he's trying to say, but somebody who's admitting they're ambivalent, they're on the fence, they can't make up their mind. Then he says, well, I'm starting to come off the fence a little bit, but here's the problem. Like a typical MAGA, because I think he's a MAGA, no facts, no circumstances, no proof, no news articles, no citable source, nothing that's logical or even comes close to common sense. And to be honest with you, Brian, I would really respect and appreciate it if he would have made sense of his argument. I really would.
He didn't. But I appreciate the attempt, X. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Do we have any MAGA, Justin, on hold? Let's go to Chuck. Chuck is next up on PTL. Hey, Chuck, what's going on?
Is the number to call.
Chuck.
If you would like.
Chuck.
Yeah.
He's got his radio.
Do me a favor and lower that radio, my friend, because we're on a little bit of a delay. So go ahead, Chuck. If you can lower your radio, that'd be awesome.
Very good. I will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay, Chuck. Go right ahead.
Hey, Brian Lynn, this is Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
You probably don't remember me, but you gave me some good advice about 4 or 5 months ago about my girlfriend that waited for me for 53 years, and her son's MAGA big time, found out that I'm a Democrat and I hate Trump.
I remember him. It caused a lot of problems. I remember.
I do.
Yeah, okay. Remember that one. Okay, so now I got 5 sisters. My youngest sister is MAGA too. And,
oh boy,
you know, I talk to her every once in a while, and I use your analogy about Trump going into the girls' locker room and stuff.
Yep.
And my sister's got a daughter that's in college. She was a basketball star, actually. And I said to her, I said, hey, listen, if Trump went into, you know, your daughter's dressing room, you know, during the game, would you still like Trump? Well, I don't know, she says, but you're probably right. No, I wouldn't like it. I said, fine. Okay, so we got that, and I mentioned something else about Trump that she went off, and no. You know, she spun everything else I said. So I thought, I'll talk to you later. I didn't want to get in a beef with her or whatever. But she posted something. We're friends on Facebook, you know, about how good Trump is, and I had enough. I called her up and I said,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I got a friend on Facebook that's a psychologist, and she wrote a brilliant thing about how the people that are supporters are brainwashed and this and that, and, you know, like how to not get brainwashed. What can you say to somebody that's brainwashed? And so I sent it over to Marie, my sister.
Yeah.
And she sent one back to me. Don't ever call me again. I never want to talk to you. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'd
because
say good.
I was just the truth, the facts.
Don't talk to her. I mean,
Well,
you know,
I'm glad you
that's
spread
what
the
I'm
word,
not
Chuck.
gonna, and it's a shame that these people out there that they are brainwashed, and I can tell she got radicalized because she was a traveling saleswoman for a big metal.
Well, here's how
company.
let me explain it to you like this. Here's how I would explain it.
Okay.
It's very sad when a family member or a close friend that you're not talking to them anymore, and it's very unfortunate. However, if you're going to remain in any sort of relationship, friendship, family with somebody like that is that ill-informed and that ignorant, then quite frankly, it might be better for your mental health that you don't talk to that person anymore. As bad as that is, and I wish that wasn't the case in this country, that's the way I look at it. If they're that ill-informed, and I'm going to use the term ignorant, then it's probably best that you don't have those kinds of people in your life. I'm sorry to say it, but that's just the truth.
Oh, I know. I agree with you now, and that's the only way I can take it myself. You know what I mean? I've been heartbroken before.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but you're right, because it sucks because, you know, a family member and a girlfriend that I had that I was fond of. She was a real nice person.
Yep.
I don't have either one of them now.
Well, just because they're a nice person doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right person for you, my friend. So you got to look at it that way.
I'm glad we were able to help, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm sorry that there are.
Gave you a good argument to present, and seems like it had its desired effect.
For sure.
Thanks for letting us know.
So here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take one more quick 90-second break. And when we come back, we'll be taking more of your phone calls on the other side at 702-221-7283. And, of course, if you're a MAGA supporter, if you're pro-MAGA, we will take your phone call, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you. That number is 702-221-7283. And, of course, the question that I am raising to really everybody out there is pretty simple. It's, do you think Donald Trump deserves any credit for these 20 hostages that have been released? I've given you my opinion on it. Now I want to hear yours. Again, that number 702-221-7283. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening. That's about 78 seconds longer than Donald Trump lasted with Stormy Daniels. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on K. All right, welcome back to Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. I wish I had better news to share with all of you, but I don't when it comes to the Middle East. Members of the media in the Middle East are already putting out reports saying that the ceasefire has been broken. We have Israel, which has delayed aid to help those in Gaza, and Hamas is tightening their grip. We also have reports of multiple executions that have happened.
Was a reporter shot?
Yes, we've learned
that. Yeah.
We've learned that not only was a reporter shot, but there were some instances from eyewitnesses that Hamas was going door to door, and there were executions. So, by all intents and purposes, it's lasted 48 hours. And this supposed peace deal and the war being over, which Donald Trump said, which, by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu never did say, has lasted 2 days. The last ceasefire that Donald Trump was bragging about, where he was saying he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize, lasted less than 1 day. When Israel broke the ceasefire, it appears as now Hamas has broke the ceasefire, and now Israel is delaying aid. So these are reports that we've learned here in just the last hour from multiple outlets, including the Associated Press. So, for all of you MAGA idiots out there that are claiming that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, and not only is it not the end of a war, but it's not even a ceasefire deal, which was broken within 48 hours. Absolutely pathetic.
Without going into all the politics and the logistics, because I would get in the weeds, it's very possible that if there was a ceasefire, if there was a peace deal, that Netanyahu would not last very long at all.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that they would have another vote, which I think they were working towards. And remember, he's the extreme Orthodox right is not really backing him the way they used to. So I believe if there was peace, So what does that mean? That means that as long as this war and this conflict keeps going on and continuing, that Netanyahu will probably be allowed to stay in power for now.
Wouldn't surprise me. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to David. David is next up on PTL. Hello, David.
Oh, hey, can you hear me, Brian?
Yes, go right ahead, David.
Thank you. This isn't exactly on the topic you were talking about, but I saw a post you made on X a couple of hours ago. You said that Charlie Kirk was a coward because he debated kids on college campuses. Could you elaborate as to why you think he's a coward for that?
Absolutely. So I think there's a fine, and I'd say the same thing about Ben Shapiro and others. I know firsthand of people that Charlie Kirk refused to debate, but he went to college campuses and debated a bunch of sometimes ill-informed and unprepared liberals that were 18, 19, and 20 years old. There were very few instances where Charlie Kirk was willing to say, I don't know, go on NBC or CNN and debate actual real adults in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that cover politics for a living. In fact, he wouldn't even debate my friend Parker. He wouldn't even debate his friend.
He has debated Parker.
No. So, okay, here's what happened.
Well, he did debate
hold on. The first time he met Parker was at Jubilee. And then Parker was able to ask him one question at one of his rallies. And what Parker wanted to do was actually have a real one-on-one debate with him, not with 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but an actual hour-long debate. And
well, that's not how that's set up.
Well, guess what? The reason I'm answering your question, the reason why, and I'll let you go, David. The reason why I call him a coward is because if you're only willing to debate 18, 19, and 20-year-old liberals, and you're not willing to have long-form debates with 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and people that do this for a living, then you are a coward. I stand by everything I said about Charlie Kirk. I know people personally, a handful of people on the left, that Charlie Kirk refused to debate. And by the way, I would call that a coward. I'm sorry, that's a coward in my opinion.
He debated with alternate facts and non-real facts, and he would bring up 17% of this and 77% of that, and he would leave the conversation. And obviously, the college students weren't prepared with those kind of statistics, and they're not even provable. But he would enjoy showing them that he had facts and figures, and the facts and figures weren't even accurate.
What's that, David? What did you say?
His reasoning for going to college campuses and debating them was because they are future voters.
Okay,
who are,
I don't care.
Future elections.
David,
you said you'd let me reply.
Okay, David, I will. Okay, but I don't care what his reasoning was. I'm just giving you the facts. He only debated 99% of the time a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-old liberals. He can give any reasoning why he did that, but the fact of the matter is he could have gone out of his way to debate people that were a little bit older. He chose not to do that. I don't think that makes you smart.
He did it on Jubilee.
Okay.
He debated several people on Jubilee, and that was of all ages. And that was a long format, like you said. He debated some people for several minutes. Yes, it was.
First of all, several minutes is not considered long format in debates. What I consider a long format is 30 minutes to an hour of debating somebody. Destiny does it all the time, and there are people on the right that are willing to do that as well. Okay, Schroyer is another one. Okay, okay, Charlie Kirk did not do that. Now, if you think somehow his
he did
reasoning,
that with some people, I can tell you.
Very few. That does not.
But it's not. I mean, what's the amount that you would need for him to?
If you're considered to be, David, in my opinion, this is my opinion, a great debater.
Yeah, I'm not disputing it's your opinion.
If people want to consider Charlie Kirk a great debater, then I think they are complete imbeciles in doing so.
He was a good debater.
Let me be very clear. I don't have the following Charlie Kirk had. I do have more education than him. I'm willing to debate anybody who wants to come on this show. That's a name, obviously, for an hour or longer. I will sit right across from you and I will debate you on any topic you like. Charlie Kirk was not willing to do that with big names on the left and debating a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old liberals. And let's be honest, grifting off of it. He made tens of millions of dollars in doing so. Now, let me ask you.
That's not grifting.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. What's his wife doing?
Something he doesn't believe.
What's his wife doing right now?
Continuing the movement that he was.
Continuing the movement. So you think the movement, hours after your husband gets executed and putting out a picture of holding your dead husband's hand and then sending out mass text messages to people asking for money and selling T-shirts at your memorial service?
Millionaire.
Is that not grifting, David? You tell me, yes or no.
How is that grifting? First of all,
how is that grifting? Okay, so hold on.
I'm explaining because you're trying to get into the mind of the grieving widow.
No. Let me explain something to you.
How is that wrong?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I'll explain to you. If she wants to hold her husband's hand in his coffin, that is her way of grieving. Have no problem with it. But here's what she decided to do. She decided to prearrange a camera videoing her doing so and then asking people for money. Mass text messages, throwing out that video, selling T-shirts, making money at.
Yeah, how is that?
You're asking me, David. Hold on. You're asking me, David. How is it grifting? Selling your husband's T-shirts at his memorial service. Is that a serious question that I have to answer?
Well, because it's how is it not? Because it's his movement, and she's continuing his movement. How long does it have to be?
Because it wasn't. Because I'll explain. I'll answer that.
Because it's petty.
I'll answer that. We're not talking about a Turning Point USA rally where they're raising money and making money. We are talking about a funeral service. We are talking about a service before her husband is 6 feet underneath the ground. There is a fine line difference between a Turning Point USA rally where a bunch of supporters are there and they're trying to raise some money. There is a fine line between that or a campaign rally, for that matter, where Charlie Kirk is selling some of his memorabilia or whatever you would call it, and a funeral. Do you not understand the difference and how inappropriate it is to be trying to capitalize and make money off of a death?
Appropriate. I don't think
so. Making money off of a death. Okay, all right, that's fine. You don't think
she's not making money off of a death?
Yes, she is.
It absolutely
okay,
was.
first of all, okay, hold on. Let me tell you why I disagree. You don't think it's capitalizing and making money off of a death? Hours after.
Off of a death.
Okay, well, hold on. You just said the word death, and you said you don't think it's making money off of a death, David. Here's why I disagree with you. Hours after her husband died, in fact, the very next day, I saw the text message that she sent for Turning Point USA with a quote from her. She was the one who was the directive behind it, sending hundreds of thousands of text messages the day after her husband died. Let me repeat, the day after her husband died. Please explain to me how that is not taking advantage and making money off of your husband's death.
I don't see how that's. I don't see how that's taking advantage. It's literally continuing the movement that he knows.
It was a swindle, is what it was.
Continuing the movement. Okay, let me explain. Let me explain, David. Continuing the movement. Okay, continuing the movement would have been maybe if they held rallies across the country a month or two later. They had a Ben Shapiro. Hold on. Continuing the movement, even though I disagree with it, would have been holding more rallies. Maybe after her husband is buried,
let a little time go by, right?
Maybe let a week go by, and Ben Shapiro, Michael, whoever speaker they have, and then sell his memorabilia there. That's fine, whatever. She decided to do it before her husband wasn't even cold yet. Before her husband,
even the ground.
Before her husband was 6 feet underneath the ground, his body wasn't even cold yet. How can you not see that as taking advantage of your husband's death? How do you not see it that way?
But again, 1 week wouldn't have been taking advantage. So you just effectively.
I'm not saying. Do you not understand?
You just said it,
David.
About time and
David, I need you to understand what I'm trying to say because I don't think you're connecting the dots. Okay, with respect, I'm not talking about a funeral service or a memorial service. I'm talking about a Turning Point USA college event where speakers speak or a rally. Right. There is a fine line between that, whether it was a week after or even 4 days after his death, and then doing it before his body isn't even cold. How is it you don't understand the difference? That's the definition of grifting.
You're asking me if I understand what the difference is. I'm saying that I don't think it's an issue that she handled it the way that she handled it because, again, she's continuing what he wanted that organization to continue. This is a.
Can I ask you a question? Is that okay?
Sure.
So, is it your opinion that Charlie Kirk was not a divisive person who spewed racism and hatred and talked down about black people and females and women? And is it your opinion that he was okay guy because he debated and he belittled poor people and people that had empathy and people that he didn't like the Civil Rights Act? He thought it was ridiculous and a waste of time.
I was
saying that guy's okay. Is that what you're saying?
All right, let's shorten up the question here. Let me since you want to say it's broad, let's shorten it. Do you condone somebody who smiles and asks his supporters to donate money to someone who just attempted murder on Paul Pelosi? Do you think that's a good person?
No, I think he was wrong when he did that.
He was wrong when he did that.
I think he was making it a bad joke.
What about everything else?
He did that.
He was wrong when he did that. What about attacking Michelle Obama? No, nonsense. Let me tell you something. 99%.
It does matter.
Here's why it doesn't matter. 99% of that show, for 3 hours, if Charlie Kirk said how horrible it was that this guy attacked Paul Pelosi, and then he made a joke and smiled and called people heroes if they bailed this guy out, it wouldn't have changed the context of anything. It would have been just as wrong. So that is an excuse. You saw the clip.
Told you that
all right, so don't make the excuse. So don't make the excuse of context. Okay, context doesn't matter. Not in that
thing from another thing that he said.
No. Okay,
of course context matters.
Okay, so in that situation, you're saying context matters.
In every situation,
okay,
context
so let me
matters.
repeat again. Let's just say he did a 10-hour show, and in 9 hours and 59 minutes, he said how horrible the attack was. And then in 1 minute, he smiled and said, anybody, one of my listeners, is a hero if they bail this guy out, with a smile on his face. That is what I am trying to express to you. Context doesn't matter when in that 10 or 15 seconds you smile and ask your listeners to bail out someone who just tried to kill Paul Pelosi. What part of that do you not understand?
So you're saying the context just for that doesn't matter?
The context, it was shameless. That's what he's saying. That is shameless.
Let me tell you something.
And
if a white person calls a black person the N-word, and then 99% of the show is praising how wonderful black people are, do we need context, or would you say calling a black person the N-word as a white person is horrible? Yes or no? Would you listen to somebody that would say, give it some context?
Now you're making random hypotheticals.
No, I'm not. I just gave you, hold on a second. I just gave you a direct example. If Charlie Kirk for 9 hours straight.
That's not an example.
No. You're not listening. I'm going to repeat it again. If Charlie Kirk for 9 hours said how horrible the Paul Pelosi attack was, and then in 15 seconds of that made a joke, smiled, and said anybody who donates money to try to bail this guy out is a hero, it wouldn't change my opinion. The context wouldn't matter. Why are you making excuses for him and what he did in that 15 seconds?
How am I making excuses?
Because you're saying context matters, and in this situation, it doesn't. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Because the context of that specific situation was, he made a bad joke, and I thought it was wrong that he did that, and he smiled.
I think what you're missing is context is subjective. You don't always have to have context. When something is factual, you can put it in your own context.
By the way, I also disagree.
Right.
David, I also disagree with you saying that it was just a joke. Charlie Kirk
was not a joke.
Charlie Kirk has had millions of listeners. When you ask some of your listeners to help donate money, which, by the way, some people did, so it wasn't a joke. They donated money to a guy who tried to kill somebody because Charlie Kirk called them freedom fighters and heroes to do so. That is not just a joke.
I already told you. See, you're picking that one thing because it's one of the worst.
No. Now you're trying to get out of it, and now you're trying to get out of it. You said context matters. No, you've made excuses and tried to make the case that context matters in this specific. You said in this situation, context still matters, and I'm telling you, if you say that, you could for 24 hours straight say how horrible the attack was, and it doesn't change what he said. The context in this specific situation does not matter, and you can't admit that.
He's trying to defend the indefensible. That's what's going on.
What do you keep?
Because context matter in this specific situation. When he joked around, he did make a joke, and then he asked people, his listeners, to donate money, and they would be heroes if they bailed this guy out. Does context matter, or can you just admit it's wrong?
Literally both. Context matters.
Oh, get the hell out of here. You're ridiculous, David. I tried to pin you in a corner, and I did, and you still say context matters. David, I can't get anywhere with this guy. I can't get anywhere.
Well, he refused to answer the question, and I would have respected him more if he decided to just answer the question honestly, even if we didn't agree with his opinion. But he's saying context. First, it was objective, right? He's trying to explain. And then context became subjective. That makes no sense. It can't be both.
Just an absolute goofball. it's impossible to get through to
what
some
he
of these
did
people.
was objectively wrong.
Absolutely.
And let's just leave it at that.
Absolutely.
Joking and asking for people to bail someone out who tried to murder. Actually, he was trying to murder Nancy Pelosi.
We have a lot of people that are on hold. I apologize. Save the calls for tomorrow because guess what? Leonard is going to be filling in for me tomorrow, and I know Leonard's going to do a great job. By the way,
hopefully he'll be nice. You have a very nice audience.
I'm supposed to be doing Pierce Morgan tomorrow morning, and then after the Pierce Morgan show, somehow I'm going to find a way to play golf, even though I might be a little bit late to the golf course for this event. So Leonard, I know you'll do a great job, and for those of you out there that want to continue to support what we do here, we thank all of those in the YouTube Super Chat. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. You go to my website, you can make donations and buy PTL merchandise. $5, as little as $5 a month. We appreciate anything you guys can do in advance. The number to call tomorrow, 702-221-7283. I want all you guys that were on hold to give Leonard a call tomorrow. Leonard is going to be holding the fort down for us tomorrow.
Wish me luck.
Yes, Leonard, I know you'll do a great job. And I appreciate everybody, even the MAGA callers that had the
that was good spirited debate. I wish he would have been able to make his point. And good luck tomorrow. I know you do well on the Pierce Morgan show, and
thank you.
I can't wait to see when they post it. And
Leonard, tomorrow, just so everybody knows, and I'll be back at it on Thursday. And Leonard, I appreciate you holding the fort down, and I appreciate everybody being here. We will see you guys tomorrow. I will not see you tomorrow. Leonard will on Pushing the Limits. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout.